KennethHoback, KennethHoback. I live in Troy, Illinois. And in July of 1969, I was steering the USS Hornet to the location to pick up the astronauts. We were about 900 miles southwest of Hawaii. And just a few hours before we were supposed to pick up the astronauts, the weather got bad. It was thunderstorms and clouds. So we had to make a quick change and speed run to the next location, where we missed the astronauts approximately 21 miles. And before the astronauts got to our ship, President Nixon arrived with Admiral McCain, who is Senator McCain's father. He was a three-star admiral in the Navy. So before the astronauts came down to Earth, we were outside and we could see the space module coming through the atmosphere. It looked like a comet for about maybe 8 or 10 seconds. Then we lost sight of them. And then the choppers knew where to pick up the astronauts.
How old were you at that time?
I was probably about 21.
Did you realize how significant that event that you were participating in was at the time? Did you?
Yeah, it was a part of history. So everyone on our ship had a job to do. Everyone was excited. All the time the astronauts were walking on the moon, you could hear them talk back to Houston Control. And so we heard everything that was going on. We're all cheering excited when they actually were on the moon, walking on the moon. Then our mission was to, pick up the astronauts.
And so tell me about how that went.
Well, after the helicopter went to the space module where it splashed down, and like I said, we missed them 21 miles. They had like 3 or 4 frogmen jump out, and they put this inflatable device around the module so it wouldn't sink. And then before they retrieved the astronauts, they lowered this basket down, and they gave this thing called a big. It's like a biological garment they had to put on. It was a real heavy thing. This was like in case they would bring back space bugs or germs from the moon. So they put these heavy, sweaty things on, and then they loaded them on the chopper. They hoisted them above, and then they took them back to the carrier. The chopper landed on an elevator where it was lowered down to the hangar bay. Then the 3 astronauts walked from the chopper through this like a tunnel right into the quarantine shelter, and I saw them twice. I saw them after I steered the ship alongside the capsule. I went down below, and President Nixon was there talking to the astronauts. So I stand up maybe 20, 30 feet away. So I got some pictures of that stuff, and then he welcomed them back to Earth and stuff like that, and 20 or 30 minutes later he was gone. So then we rushed him back to Pearl Harbor. It took us maybe a couple days, 2 or 3 days to get back there. So.
And you were telling me that, so you've seen the exhibit?
Yes, I've seen the exhibit.
What's your impression of it?
I think anybody who's interested in space, they did a top-notch job. You need to come out and check out the exhibit. And it's not a quick little thing. It takes you probably 30 minutes to an hour to see everything. They've got exhibits of Buzz Aldrin's helmet and gloves and stuff. And the space module is here, something that I haven't seen in almost 49 years. And I got pictures of that from my camera.
So you lived the experience, you're
Right.
seeing this. Tell me how it makes you feel. You said when it first happened and you came
Right.
back to town, you heard from a lot of people and now
Right.
time has gone by. But we're all older, we remember it, and it's such a big moment. How are you feeling?
Well, to me, it happened like 5 minutes ago. So my ship is now a museum. And if you go out to Alameda Navy Base in California, which is across the bay from San Francisco, if you go up on the bridge, you'll see my picture up there. But I have a photograph when I met Neil Armstrong at a place called the Newseum in Washington, D.C. There was Tim Rusford from Meet the Press. All 3 astronauts were there. And me and another sailor got picked to sit on in this news conference. And I got to meet him back in the meet and greet room, the green room, where he signed a photograph for me, which he doesn't do very often. So.
What a wonderful, that has to be kind of up there as far
Right.
as.
Oh, yeah. That was a great experience. I'll never forget it.
So tell me a little bit about some of the pictures you had, how you were.
Okay. Once I steered alongside the capsule, I was the helmsman that day, And I ran downstairs with my camera because my job had been done. You know, somebody else could steer the ship then because they're basically retrieving the capsule out of the ocean. So I ran down and took probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 photographs. And the newspapers like to use the one I took of them retrieving the module out of the ocean and with a crane and bringing it into the hangar bay where it was guarded and protected until they got back to Pearl Harbor, where everything was loaded on the aircraft and taken to Hickam Air Force Base, then back to Texas.
Do you remember your emotions? I know when you were out, but when they arrived,
Right.
what was your? I know you all had jobs to do, and usually
Right.
that helps keep everybody focused. But you had to be feeling
Yeah.
goosebumps or something.
Well, everybody on the ship had a job to do, and you know everybody was excited. The president was there, and John McCain's father was there. A three-star admiral, he was there. Henry Kissinger was there. Just different people were there. Of course, you know you see them and take pictures of everything and everybody, and of the module and stuff. So there was a lot of guys running around taking pictures after we retrieved everything and our job was done. So I was one of those guys doing that. So.
But just being able to, I know, like for me, when I'm at like some event, I just get like goosebumps because you had a front row seat.
Right. We had a front row seat at history, but at the same time, we all had a job to do. And I was up on the bridge where the officers are at and see the president and all those guys running around. So, you know, we were up on the bridge, which was the captain, and the officers always stood there watching. That's where the helm is, where we steered the ship.
So you were telling me that for so many years afterwards, people would come and want to interview you.
Oh yeah, the radios, and probably the first 5 or 10 years of this event, they were coming to my house, TV, radio, TV cameras and stuff, and they wanted to talk to me about the splashdown, what I did, what my job was, how long I was in the Navy and stuff like that.
How long were you in the Navy?
3 years, 9 months, 12 days, and 4 hours.
So,
Somebody said, "What's with the 4 hours?" And I would say, well, the guy, when I got out the last day, he said I needed a haircut. And so I went back and played pinball machine at the PX for about 3 hours. And by that time, there was a different guy on the base at the gate, and he didn't say anything. Go figure, huh?
So here's a guy from, because Troy's not that big.
Well, I'm originally from Mattoon.
Well, yeah, so here's a guy, small towns in Illinois, and
Right.
you're part of one of space history.
Right. Well, it's kind of weird because when I was in boot camp, they asked me what I wanted to be, and I said, well, why not a parachute rigger, Lakehurst, New Jersey? And so I kind of signed up for that. And then after I graduated from boot camp, there was like a list of white sheets up on the wall, you know, to show where you're going to be, where your duty assignment is. And mine said, USS Hornet, Long Beach, California. I said, what the heck is that? Oh, you're going to go to an aircraft carrier. So, you know, the military will put you where they want you. You know that. So that's how I ended up there.
And little did you know.
Right, little did I know. And the guy behind me, next in line, had orders to be a quartermaster as well. And he got up to the window after I was there, and he says, oh, that billet's already been full. You're going to go down in the deck division. So.
Wow, what a story to tell. Well, I can't wait to go see it. I guess you'll probably be trying to get all your family to come look at it. Have they seen these exhibits?
Just me and my wife so far. But we got some people going to come with me and see it. So. But they did a nice job on it. They really did.
What would you tell people to especially notice? Is there anything in particular that just awes you?
Well, you can see the old movie reels of President Kennedy and stuff like that. Most people don't know this, but originally Kennedy had the Wasp, another aircraft carrier on the East Coast to pick up the astronauts. But after Kennedy was assassinated, Nixon became president, and for some reason he picked USS Hornet. So most people don't realize that. But if anybody would like to come to see the exhibit, it's definitely worth seeing. There's a lot of things in there to see. Old movies, old newsreels, and of course the space module itself.
So now that you're so many years removed, I guess you're old because
I just turned 72.
Oh, no. But now that you're so many years removed, looking back, reflecting, it's coming back out again. This exhibit is coming to kind of your hometown, your home region.
Yeah, I've been here 5 or 6 years, yeah.
So tell me what you're feeling right now.
Right now? Well, I'm glad they did this, and I'm glad it's bringing people out to see this. because it's a part of history. It might be a little vintage, but if you think about the age and how far we've came since then, like going to Mars will, you know, if they ever make it to Mars, will be a great thing too. But right now, the moon landing is still the biggest thing going on, I think, in history. You know, it took a lot of brave guys to put all together and a launch and go to the moon and figure a way to come back. I guess that's why they call them a rocket scientist, right?